Hey, everybody. Welcome to September, my favorite month of the year. I'm Colette Baron-Reid. I'm so excited to be here. We are going to be talking about the energy prediction report. Really, it's a prediction and a prescription. You know, I'm looking at the energies and giving you some ideas about what we can do with it in the next few minutes. So let's get rolling on this. We're using the baby. I don't know if you've seen this deck yet, but see, this is the deck I teach with is Wisdom of the Oracle, and our nickname for it is WOTO. And we have baby WOTO. So I'm going to use the baby WOTO today. We're going to use the little deck, the pocket deck. And I'm going to show you what's going on. So I'm going to do a 15 card reading. And what I'm going to do first is choose the first 3 cards. Now, I don't have an overhead camera, so I can't really show them to you, but I can show them to the camera as best I can here. So here's what's happening in this particular month. Okay, it's a mixed bag. So I'm going to show you the 3 cards. Actually, this was the first. The anchor card was this. And these were the 2. So milk and honey upside down or protection. Orphaned is the next card, and messages from spirit. So let me tell, message in a bottle, sorry. So here's what's going on here. In the center, the reactive quality of September, it's kind of interesting because part of us is like ready to roll, get down to business, get things organized. It's a very Virgo month. But it's also got all this edginess to it as well. So it's like we're very similar in a way to August, but different because August had a lot more playful quality to it, was very leonine and there was a lot more, more holiday-ish, I guess. And now there's a sense of we need to get stuff done. And it still feels like, even though we're out of Mercury retrograde, et cetera, there are all these other planetary influences. And as you know, I'm not an astrologer, but I'm fascinated with it. And I do see how it impacts the energies here. The cards are what I work with. And so there's a quality of a sense of disconnection and not wanting to hear anybody else's side of their story is really ramping up this September. So the polarization that we really all wish were gone is actually ramping up even more right now. Now, that doesn't mean to say that any of us need to buy into it, but we need to be aware of it. So, and when that is a strong energy, then there's a tendency for us to try to act out to soothe ourselves. So the center card, Milk and Honey, when it's in the protection mode, is all about a feeling of unease, even though we're surrounded by great things that we want to do and our creativity is on high and we can, we're getting the downloads, we're feeling like renewed, but at the same time, we're feeling disconnected. Why do I say disconnected? Is because of the orphaned card. So that sense of feeling like I know I'm on track, but why do I feel this pressure? And a sense of almost a bit of a slight not so much energy. So this is you have to really watch your health this month, like not eating too much sugar, alcohol. There's a quality of addictive behaviors to try to soothe, self-soothe that are not in our highest good. We just have to be careful of that. Or whatever it is that you do that's looking for an instant fix, because there's no such thing as an instant fix. It never works, and nor is it going to all of a sudden start for you now or any of us. So it's a real requirement for us to be a little bit more diligent and vigilant around how we treat our bodies, what we put in our mouths, what comes out of our mouths too. So to really, we feel a sense of restraint. So there's a quality of restraint this month as well that's just sort of in the air, and it doesn't make sense because there's another part of us is like, yes, I'm ready to like organize and make things happen and start a new beginning, especially with the equinox on the 22nd of the month in September, when summer is really over. I mean, I always figure Labor Day is when I get moving. I like, yes, it's September. But this year I'm feeling these energies too, like everybody. So what's the antidote? Like, that's great for us to know that there it is. It's like saying it's going to rain on Thursday. Okay, fine. So we know that there is a quality of energy throughout the entire month of September, changes a bit towards the end, where we start to feel a little bit more creative and hopeful. But it's a hit and miss. And I think it's going to be hit and miss, frankly, till the end of the year. I really do. There's a real crux point this month as well, too, as we start to really recognize that we need change more now than ever, but at the same time are unclear about what exactly that is, because we can't know the total results or the consequences of our actions right away. And I think there's also, people are starting to realize that there was a false hope that we would see structures completely different in a short period of time. And this is a long journey. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So every seed we plant right now is going to take time. But that's why our choices at the moment are really, really important. One of the choices that we need to make, again, take what you like and leave the rest. This is how I kind of go with the predictions prescription piece, because what do we do with this? Like, it's one thing to say, oh, this is going to happen. So, well, what does that mean, like, to us? And so this is asking us to be kinder, like really, really, really present to other people in our lives, not get into a debate unless we feel that there's a reciprocity of like really willingness to share ideas or exchange ideas that may be different. There really is a call for us to start taking a look at how we can better cross the bridge and meet in the middle. Doesn't necessarily mean that's going to work right away, but we're starting to recognize that our sense of self depends on our sense of we, not me, I. And that there are no one is right and no one is wrong in some ways. Now, again, that's a pretty broad statement, but there are things we could learn about, educate ourselves first, basically, before making an opinion. I think that's really what this is talking about. So be willing to dive in a little bit. If you are reactive around something, say, I wonder why, and use curiosity as your superpower. This is really key, because you're really tuned into spirit too this month. It got message in a bottle, which means you're going to get the right information. What are you going to do with that, though? You want to, if you are going to be taking a stand, for example, in any way, then ask yourself, do I have enough information? That's basically what this is saying. On the other hand, this is a great time. Like, there's a quality of melancholy in a way too. And of course, we look at, what's going on in other countries and things. And, I'm sitting here in Canada. So, and my connection is to North America, but I've spent a lot of time in Europe this year. And so we know that we're not the only ones. I don't have to list what's going on in the world at all for us to know. We just have to really turn on, any kind of media outlet, and we're going to see something, whether or not that's the full story or not. But there is a sense of pathos, that's coming up, and heartache, that I think it's important to acknowledge to ourselves. There's some grief that's happening here, and that as the world changes, things slow down and speed up, and slow down and speed up, and we kind of have to keep our finger on the pulse of movement, so that we don't move so fast that all of a sudden we're off track, or that we move too slow and we haven't caught up to what's really going on. So I still feel a lot of hope, because what this is, again, it might help us understand ourselves a little bit better. Now we're going to go to the next. I'm going to put out the rest of the cards, and we're going to see what else is happening now. So this is what's happening. Oh, very interesting. Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Okay, sorry about that. I should have had them all done out, but it's kind of better when I know you're looking at the video and I'm sort of feeling your energy too, even though I'm recording this obviously in advance. There's a kind of a sense of like, give me what is true for the people watching this. Now, this is very good. So the natural way, there's a quality of the capacity to think and organize our thoughts this month. Very good. And it enables us to ask ourselves, how can I, like, so exchanging gifts, thinker into the sea. I'll show you these 3 cards. Okay, thinker to the sea. What's the right use of our thinking, right? So if our thoughts do create, well, when we say create the reality, our thoughts create an experience within us that will constitute an energy, and that energy is going to match itself in the outer world. So we're going to start to notice things through the reticular activating system of our brain, and the thinker card came, so hence why I'm talking about the mind. And so the mind, being disciplined around our mind and being in flow, and finding ways, whatever your practice is, to stay in flow, and and to remember that what we think really does have an impact on what we see also. So it's asking us to remember. We do something in Oracle School called a synchronicity timeline in the beginning of the school, where we talk to people about reminding ourselves that we've never ever been completely abandoned, and no matter what happens, that there's some type of greater conversation around it, that often we don't know what it is when these things are happening, right? So this is suggesting to us that this is a perfect time, since things are a little disjointed and we can't really move forward as fast as we want, although again, we should feel like we want to, but again, there's the reins are holding us back. So how do we flow, and what has worked for us in the past, and can it still work now? This to me is also about meditation. How do you get into the flow of the mind, into right use of imagination, which is in the next grouping. So this is the natural flow of things right now is, okay, this is good. I have to think about, how can I exchange the gifts that I have within me to serve this next period of time, even if it's short, even if it's over the next 3 months, what's in the highest good. I'm very, very happy I'm doing my mastermind right now too, because it was perfect timing for it. We moved Oracle School, we moved all the things that I offer around so that it could support people now, and it was the right decision. Helps to be intuitive. Anyway, so now we have what is going on that is changing. So that's the natural. We're naturally moving into the right use of imagination, the right use of thought, recognizing how we can exchange gifts at this time, and knowing that it's our job to find how we get into flow. It's different for everybody, right? Now, it doesn't mean the flow of the outer world, because if we wait for the outer world to behave itself, we're going to be pretty disappointed, because it's not going to happen any faster than fast enough for any of us. So then here we go. Never ending story. We've got fork in the road and imagine. So never ending story is the continuous sense of, I don't feel safe. I'm not, I'm unworthy, or whatever the heck, the list of litanies that we share, that we have independently of each other, by the way. And then there's the bigger one, which is with everybody involved, right? So this is really saying, are we not sick and tired of being sick and tired? Like, honest to God, it's really the requirement right now, is asking ourselves this question. Are we sick and tired of being sick and tired? Okay, well then what do we do? Because fork in the road is a doing. It means take an action. And the action is imagine. So we had the right use of imagination over here when we talked about the thinker and, the mind. And here now we're saying, okay, can we imagine a world for ourselves that is better than what is now? Now, again, keep it small. Like we lose all sense of ourselves when we think too big, when we're thinking, and then we're completely powerless, because we realize, I can't make that, but I can make micro changes. And the micro change I can make has to do with me and mine, and also recognizing that I am here to channel divine will and what is divine order. I might not know what it is, but I'll surrender myself to that and see and ask and say, if I stay curious, what beyond my never-ending story, what else is there? What new story can I tell? And this is all about gratitude, and it's all about imagining for yourself, remembering that, wow, I was put here for a purpose, and I wonder what that is. And can I align myself with that energy so that it serves everybody, as opposed to this hamster wheel, which doesn't serve anybody, by the way. It just creates more and more havoc and creates more and more polarity. Now, what's going on that we don't see? Like, what are the hidden influences? We're blessed. Okay, the blessing card is here. So blessed, community, and come to the edge. So this is about taking a risk on behalf of your community, right? So in this case, and to recognize that there is a blessing inherent in that. We are not meant to be armchair astronauts this month. And when we get too isolated, which is the orphan card, which is the whole way we started this month, this is a reminder you can't completely disconnect yourself. You can say, I want to unplug from social media, for example, or I want to have a media diet, or I want to get out of Dodge and talk to people who are more in alignment with the way I think. And there's so many different places that we could be and groups that we could connect with that we feel grounded, safe, and that there's some form of momentum that could better the lives of other people. Also, it's not just about me, it's about we. So taking the risk is also about doing something that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, getting out of your comfort zone, actually saying what you feel, but also monitoring that it's like, let your words be a blessing, right? Like, God be in my thoughts and in my thinking, God be in my mouth and in my speaking, God be in my ears and in my hearing, right? So it's this calling in the blessing that we bless others with what comes out of our mouths and what is our action. So we don't need to even be that vocal about things. We just need to do things. Now, what does Spirit have to say to us? What's the gift? Well, it says you can rest, because time for a nap is really, you're going to need rest. And I think our energy is not going to be so great either. I don't know if it's solar flares or whatever, but I'm feeling it every time I look at September, which for me tends to be the most active month of the year, where I have, oh my God, I get all the downloads. I get so excited. And I even feel it's like, oh, there's a bit of a damper on stuff. So that's okay, because it says go the distance. It won't be daily, but be aware that when your energy is low, you need to act accordingly. And a leg up is in the protection position. Let yourself get help from other people. You're not the one that's always supposed to be the giver. It's not going to make you feel any better. Sometimes people do that just for the sake of it, so that they somehow can avoid looking at themselves. Over giving, becoming depleted, being the one that only, that wants people to see them as that person. But this is not what this is. This is about recognizing you cannot be the giver all the time. That's not what you're supposed to do this month. This is about self-care. Hello. Right. So a little bit more self-care, trusting this is a long haul to go. We are in unprecedented time in history. It is, because we don't know what the future is going to hold. We really don't. We know how we want to feel, though. And that's the thing that this month, I think if I boil this down to anything this month, is the action that all of us need to take on what is being predicted, which is, again, this kind of repressive energy. We're, low energy some days, feeling like, and really watching that hamster wheel. But is to remember how you want to feel, and to trust that that is a possibility for you. And really meditate as much as you can this month. Say nope, and think before you speak. Think before you speak. There's going to be volatility that's going to really play out over the next few months, and you don't need it. You don't need to create more of it. You ask, are these things going to be helpful, or are they going to make a difference? And then, or is it better for me to do things that will make an impact later? Again, that's your choice, not mine. I don't get to tell you that. I'm just telling you what the cards are saying. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. This is going to be an interesting month. I know that when I did the reading on the astrological signs, again, they're going to be slightly contradictory in some way, because, well, we're complicated people, and not every single day is going to be the same, right? So there are going to be some very good days too for people in this month. I didn't want to make it sound like it's kind of like a drag, but I think we need to be aware that the overarching umbrella, is a little suppressed, energetically suppressed this month. And it's literally our job to do whatever we can to get into that flow. And for me, again, the practice of gratitude is important. Don't look at the things that aren't there or aren't there yet. Don't look at the hole in the donut. Don't look at the scarcity of whatever. We have to keep trusting and having faith that we will see the impact of positive thought. Again, for who? It's like, but it's for you, right? It's that in your smaller life, you can make a huge impact, a little tiny micro action at a time, and it adds to the bigger. So don't worry about what you can't control or impact in the big picture, but know that every action that you take counts in some way that's going to be positive. All right. Bye, everybody.